Mark Twain once rightly said, India is the cradle of the human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of legend, and the great grandmother of tradition. Nowhere else on earth does humanity present itself in such a dizzying, creative burst of cultures and religions, races, and tongues. Modern day India represents the largest democracy in the world with a seamless picture of unity in diversity, unparalleled anywhere else. Respected Ambassador, His Excellency Dr. Deepak Mittal, First Secretary Culture and Education, Mr. Hemant Dwivedi, Principal DPS-MIS, Ms. Asna Nafiz, Vice Principals, Ms. Shoma Bhattacharjee, Ms. Mary Cruz, and Ms. Shifa Sheikh, Headmistress, Ms. Sini Menon, all the dignitaries, esteemed guests, and my dear friends. A warm good evening to you all. My name is Parvati Gopalakrishnan, and I'll be your host for this event. Being born as an Indian is a blessing, and Constitution Day is one such occasion to celebrate this blessing. It was on this auspicious occasion that the Constitution of India came into existence and gave our country a direction to grow and prosper. Today, we celebrate not only a milestone in India's democratic journey, but also chalk out a path for the future as we work towards realizing the dream of a new India. Constitution Day is a special day to honor the spirit of India, to recall the great sacrifices of all the Indian men and women who brought us freedom and helped us construct our own constitution. With these words, I would like to invite His Excellency Dr. Deepak Mittal to share his views on this occasion.
On the occasion of the Constitution Day, I extend my warm greetings to all my fellow Indians residing here in Qatar. It is a day to remember the founders and the makers of the Constitution of India. It's also the day when we should remember all our freedom fighters, Mahatma Gandhi ji, who led our freedom struggle and led us where we are today and led to the development and making of modern India. Constitution of any country serves as a set of rules, procedures and guidance by which people decide and accept to govern themselves. And this constitution, which we, the people of India, adopted on 26 November 1949 and enacted on 26 January 1950, is what we decided of how to govern ourselves. Our constitution declares India to be sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. It guarantees and promotes the values of justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, unity, and integrity of the nation. India is, as we all know, home to many religions, many languages, many races. The Constitution does recognize that plurality of India. It guarantees equality. It ensures freedom of expression, thought, belief, faith, worship, work, in all manners. No doubt, the Constitution makers of India, they were very far-sighted and they recognized the diversity of India. That's why even after nearly more than 70 years of making of our Constitution, it continues to be our guiding force, our guiding principles to govern ourselves and how do we live and how do we evolve. Our Constitution certainly has another feature which is about ensuring a fundamental duties of every citizen living anywhere in India or around the world. These are the duties which promote and ensures that we remain humane, that we work in a manner which is in harmony with nature, a duty of compassion and support for our people anywhere living around the world, a duty to ensure and promote international peace, harmony. Over the 70 years of adoption and enactment of our Constitution, it has proven that it is a living body. How? as any student of civics, our children, they know that we had more than 100 amendments to the Constitution since it was made, which provided that we continue to make it in tune with the time and how we evolve ourselves along with it, while protecting and securing the basic features, the fundamental principles provided under the Constitution of India. There's no doubt in 21st century, our Constitution continues to guide us how to overcome the challenges that we face. It continues to provide answers to our questions that come in front of us, including when we faced the recent challenge of pandemic coronavirus. It was that empathy, the values of support to others, the values of coming a universal brotherhood, which our Constitution provided, that we worked hard, we worked together, even here in Qatar. These are the values which are imbibed in our Constitution and imbibed in our lives. Today, on this Constitution Day, I think it is the value of each one of us to connect our youth with the values provided in the Constitution, make them aware about the Constitution. As today many of you would have heard our Honorable Prime Minister speaking in India on the Constitution Day. He spoke about KYC. As we today know, KYC in banks stand for Know Your Customer. But what our Prime Minister said is that KYC should be a movement for Know Your Constitution. I'm very glad and happy that DPS-MIS has taken this initiative today to organize this webinar, where I'm sure this KYC will get more promotion through today's event and outreach to the community here in Qatar. I will urge everyone to connect their children, our youth living here in Qatar, with our Constitution and its values. With these words, I once again extend greetings to all my fellow Indians here in Qatar and urge you all to continue to work with the universal values of promoting peace, harmony, unity, and also continue to work in cooperation in a law-abiding nature which you have in you while you are working here in Qatar, and to promote and participate in a constructive development here. With these words, thank you once again. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much for sharing those wonderful and inspiring thoughts, sir. Now, may I please invite our principal, Ms. Asna Nafees, to share her views on this occasion.
Ms. Parvati, a warm good evening to His Excellency, Dr. Deepak Mittal, the Ambassador of India to Doha, Qatar, the First Secretary, Mr. Hemant Dwivedi, my Vice Principals, Coordinators, HM, teachers, and principals from neighboring schools and students from all Indian schools in Doha, Qatar. A very good evening. First and foremost, I take this opportunity to thank the embassy for entrusting us with this responsibility. And I thank all the teachers for taking up the responsibility at a short notice and getting things organized. Indeed, today is a landmark day for all Indians, especially as principals of schools under the CBSE, catering to expat students, Indian students in Doha, Qatar. It is very important that each one of us understands the principles and values of the Constitution in order that we help our children to understand their roots better. Staying away from the country at times may lead our children to have a lesser understanding of what the larger picture of the great country, India, to which we belong. A country which is diversified in its outlook, diversified in religion, language, geographic locations, but still united by a core. And that one of the biggest core elements that unites us is our Indian Constitution, that gives every single individual the ability and the equality to think alike, work alike, and move on. I urge all our students that they follow the Indian Constitution, read it in principle, understand it, and make sure that we as future citizens of India take up the responsibilities that have been laid down, and especially, I would say that with regard to rights for women, safety for women, take it up very seriously because today's children are tomorrow's citizens. Let's all together see that India remains a secular, equitable society where everyone prospers. Long live our country, long live our motherland. Thank you so much once again to everyone, especially to the embassy for all the efforts in getting this day organized and trusting us with this responsibility. Thank you, Mr. Hemant Dwivedi, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Asna ma'am, for those thought-inspiring words. As we all know, the Indian Constitution is more than just a set of articles and schedules. It represents the hopes and aspirations and ideals of the society that we are striving to be. Now, may I please invite Ms. Janavi Nair, faculty member of the DPS-MIS Social Science Department, to shed more light on this special day. Over to you, Ms. Janavi.
Thank you, Ms. Parvati. Good evening, all. I'll be speaking about our Constitution, its history, and the features of our Indian Constitution. The Constitution of India, Bharatiya Samvidhan, is the supreme law of India. The document lays down the framework, demarcating fundamental political code, structure, procedures, powers, and duties of government institutions, and sets out fundamental rights, directive principles, and the duties of citizens. It is the longest written constitution of any country on earth. B.R. Ambedkar, chairman of the drafting committee, is widely considered to be its chief architect. It imparts constitutional supremacy and was adopted by its people with a declaration in its preamble. It was adopted by the Constituent Assembly of India on 26 November 1949 and became effective on 26 January 1950. The Constitution replaced the Government of India Act 1935 as the country's fundamental governing document, and the Dominion of India became the Republic of India. The Constitution declares India a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, assuring its citizens justice, equality, and liberty, and endeavors to promote fraternity. History. In 1928, the All Parties Conference convened a committee in Lucknow to prepare the Constitution of India, which was known as the Nehru Report. The Constitution of India repealed the Indian Independence Act 1947 and Government of India Act 1935 when it became effective on 26 January 1950. India ceased to be a dominion of the British Crown and became a sovereign democratic republic with the Constitution. The Constitution was drafted by the Constituent Assembly, which was elected by elected members of the provincial assemblies. The 389-member assembly took almost 3 years to draft the Constitution, holding 11 sessions over a 165-day-long period. B.R. Ambedkar was thus a wide constitutional expert. He had studied the constitutions of about 60 countries. Ambedkar is thus recognized as the father of the Constitution of India. Features of the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India has some distinct and unique features as compared to other constitutions of the world. As Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the chairman of the drafting committee, puts it, the framers had tried to accumulate and accommodate the best features of other constitutions, keeping in view the peculiar problems and needs of our country. Following are the salient features of the Constitution of India. First, Indian Constitution is the longest written constitution in the world because of its content. Two, the Constitution of India is a harmonious blend of rigidity and flexibility. 3. A democratic republic. India is a democratic republic. It means that sovereignty rests with the people of India. 4th, India has adopted the parliamentary system as found in Britain. In this system, the executive is responsible to the legislature and remains in power only as long as it enjoys the confidence of the legislature. 5th, a federation. Article 1 of the Constitution of India says, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. There are two sets of government, one at the center, the other at state level, and the distribution of powers between them is quite detailed in our Constitution. Sixth, fundamental rights. The Constitution of India affirms the basic principle that every individual is entitled to achieve certain basic rights. Seventh, directive principles of state policy. A novel feature of the Constitution is that it contains a chapter in the directive principles of state policy. Eighth, fundamental duties. A new part 4A after the directive principles of state policy was incorporated in the Constitution by the 42nd Amendment 1976 for fundamental duties. Ninth, a secular state. India is a secular state because it makes no discrimination between individuals on the basis of religion. Neither it encourages or discourages any religion. 10th, an independent judiciary. The judiciary occupies an important place in our Constitution, and it is independent of the legislature and the executive. The Supreme Court of India stands at the apex of single integrated judicial system. 11th, single citizenship. The Constitution of India recognizes only single citizenship. In India, we are the citizens of India only, not of the respective states to which we belong. This provision would help in promoting unity and integrity of the nation. Why do we celebrate 26 November as Constitution Day? The Constitution Day is also celebrated as National Law Day or the Samvidhan Divas in India. It is celebrated on 26 November every year to commemorate the adoption of the Constitution of India. On 26 November 1949, the Constituent Assembly of India formally adopted the Constitution, and it came into force on 26 January 1950. Significance of the Constitution Day. 26 November was marked as the Constitution Day of India by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the year 2015 as part of a year-long celebration of the 125th birth anniversary of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Constitution Day of India aims to bring awareness on the importance of the Indian Constitution and its architect, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Thank you. Now I will call upon my colleague, Ms. Nadia Khan, a faculty of Social Science Department, to continue with the proceedings. Over to you, Ms. Nadia.
Thank you, Ms. Janvi. Good evening, one and all. I would be elaborating on the key role of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar was also known as the father of Indian Constitution. He was the chairman of the drafting committee. He was not just a social revolutionary, but also a thinker and politician. He was an agitator against the concept of casteism and inequality. He was the one who introduced the reservation system to create a balance between social classes. He believed that eradication of inequality was the basis of uniting the country. Moving on to the Constitution Assembly. The drafting of the document called the Constitution was done by the Assembly of elected representatives called the Constituent Assembly. It was set up on 29 August 1947 under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. It took 2 years, 11 months, and 17 days to frame the Constitution. Initially, it had 22 parts, 395 articles, and 8 schedules. And currently, the Constitution of India has 448 articles in 25 parts, 12 schedules. There are 104 amendments that have been made in the Indian Constitution up to January 25, 2020. And the very first amendment in the Indian Constitution was made in 1950. Moving on to the other representative of the Constituent Assembly as follows. The Constituent Assembly had 299 representatives, including 15 women. To name a few: Vallabhbhai Javerbhai Patel, Abdul Kalam Azad, T.T. Krishnamachari, Rajendra Prasad, Jaipal Singh, H.C. Mukherjee, G. Durgabai Deshmukh, Baldev Singh, Kanhaiya Lal Maniklal, Bhim Rao Ramaji, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sarojini Naidu, Somnath Lahiri, and many more. Next, everything has an introduction, so with our constitution too, that is preamble. The constitution begins with a short statement of its basic values. This is called the preamble to the constitution. The preamble of the constitution reads like a poem on democracy. It contains the philosophy on which the entire constitution has been built. It provides a standard to examine and evaluate any law and action of the government. To find out whether it is good or bad, it is the soul of the Indian constitution. Its salient features are as follows. We, the people of India. The constitution has been drawn up and enacted by the people through their representatives and not handed down to them by king or any outside power. Sovereign. People have supreme right to make decisions on their internal as well as external matters. No external power can dictate the government of India. Socialist. Wealth is generated socially and should be shared equally by the society. Secular. Citizens have complete freedom to follow any religion, and there is no official religion. Democracy. A form of government where people enjoy equal political rights, elect their rulers, and hold them accountable. By republic, we mean the head of the state is an elected person and not a hereditary position. Justice. Citizens cannot be discriminated on the grounds of caste, religion, and gender. Liberty. There are no unreasonable restrictions on the citizen in what they think, how they wish to express their thoughts, and the way wish to follow up the thoughts in action. Equality. All are equal before the law. And the last, fraternity. All of us should behave as if we are the member of the same family. No one should treat a fellow citizen as inferior. Moving on to the basic principles of the Indian Constitution. The fundamental rights, directive principles of the state policy, and the fundamental duties are the sections of the Constitution of India. Fundamental rights are those rights which are given to each and every citizen of the country. We have 6 fundamental rights, which are as follows. Right to equality. All people are equal in the eyes of law. Right to freedom. Absence of interference in our personal matters. Right against exploitation. It follows that every citizen has a right not to be exploited. Right to freedom of religion. We have right to profess, practice, propagate our own religion. Cultural and educational right. It is the language, culture, and religion of minorities that needs a special protection. Last but not the least, which is also known as heart and soul of our Constitution, right to constitutional remedies. We can approach the Supreme Court or High Court if our rights are violated by fellow citizens. Moving to the directive principles. Direction given to the state to guide the establishment of an economic and social democracy. They set forth humanitarian and socialist instructions. The state is expected to keep these principles in mind while framing the laws and policies of the state. Fundamental duties. Fundamental duties are defined as the moral obligations of all citizens to help promote a spirit of patriotism and to uphold the unity of India. We have 11 fundamental duties which are as follows. Number 1, to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem. Second, to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. Third, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. Fourth, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. Fifth, to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood among all people of India. Sixth, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Seventh, to protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lakes, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion for the living creatures. Eighth, to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reforms. 9, to safeguard public property and to abjure violence. 10, to strive toward excellence in all sphere of individual and collective activity so that our nation constantly rises to the higher level of endeavor and achievements. Last, who is a parent or guardian to provide opportunities for the education of his or her child. Thank you so much. Now I invite my fellow colleague, Ms. Telma Dessa, Department of Social Science, for the further proceedings. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Nadia. Good evening, everyone. I will now share with you some known and unknown facts about the Indian Constitution. The Indian Constitution was originally written in both Hindi and English. The English version of the Constitution has 117,369 words. The Indian Constitution is the longest constitution in the world. The original version of the Indian Constitution was completely handwritten. The original copies of the Constitution are stored in special helium-filled cases. The original Constitution of India was handwritten by Mr. Prem Bihari Narayan Raizada. He did not charge any remuneration for his valuable work. It is a constitution with artistic ingenuity in which each page is uniquely decorated. The Constitution declares India a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. The 42nd Amendment Act of 1976 is one of the most important amendments to the Indian Constitution. The fundamentals of the Indian Constitution are contained in the Preamble. The Constituent Assembly met for the first time on 9th December 1946. The Constituent Assembly set a drafting committee on 29th August 1947 to prepare a draft constitution. The Objectives Resolution served as a roadmap for the constitution and was moved by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru on December 13, 1946. It took nearly 3 years to write the Indian Constitution. More than 2,000 amendments were made to the first draft of the Constitution. On 26 November 1949, the final draft of the Constitution was ready. On 24 January 1950, the signing of the Constitution took place. The Constitution was legally enforced on 26 January 1950. The national emblem of India was also adopted on 26 January 1950. Our Constitution is inspired by the best features of different constitutions around the world. However, the basic structure of the Constitution stands on the Government of India Act of 1935. India's Constitution is a unique combination of rigidity and flexibility. The Indian Constitution is federal in nature but unitary in soul. The right to property, Article 31 of the Indian Constitution, was deleted with the 44th Amendment in 1978. And lastly, the Indian Constitution has been amended only 104 times in 70 years. There are many values which we have learned from India's Constitution. Let us see a few of them. In its preamble itself, the Constitution lays down 4 universal values: justice, that is, social, economic, and political; liberty of thoughts, expression, belief, faith, and worship; equality of status and of opportunity; and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. The document includes features such as universal adult franchise, right to freedom and equality, and to protecting the rights of minorities in the Constitution of Independent India. These basic values were accepted by all leaders much before the Constituent Assembly met to deliberate on the Constitution. The Indian Constitution is a great source of human values, emphasizing on promoting humanism through its legislative, executive, and judiciary institutions. Our Constitution also teaches us individual values such as truth, dharma, shanti, and ahimsa. Thank you. I now invite Ms. Jayanti Rajagopalan, Head of the Department of Social Science, to continue with the session. Over to you, Ms. Jayanti.
Thank you, Ms. Telma. Good evening, all. A constitution symbolizes independence of a country. Framework and structure for the governance of a free country are provided in the constitution. The Constituent Assembly prepared the draft of the constitution by keeping the objectives resolution as the set backdrop, which reflected the aspirations of the people of India. The framing of the constitution was adopted on November 26, 1949, when the Constituent Assembly formally adopted the new constitution, which came into force with effect from January 26, 1915. The constitution provides for a quasi-federal setup with a strong center. There is clear division of powers between the center and the states. The Indian constitution provides for fundamental rights and fundamental duties. It is time to undertake a study of Indian federalism with a view to value the trends, frictions, and difficulties which have developed in the area of intergovernmental relations, and to seek the evolved ways and means to meet the challenging task of making the Indian Federation a more robust, strong, and workable system so that the country may meet the task of self-improvement and development. The responsibility lies not only the jurists and policy framers, but also the citizens of the country to work in a harmonious manner for the development of the country. The values that the Constitution represents is the values that India celebrates every day. Jai Hind. And now I would like to invite Ms. Parvati to take over.
Thank you so much, Jayanti ma'am. It is indeed a matter of pride for us that the Constitution has continued to thrive in the last 7 decades, thanks to the flexibility of this document that has allowed it to be amended to suit the changing times. It is a privilege for me to extend my vote of thanks to all those who have contributed to make this event a success. First, I extend my sincere thanks to the Embassy of India, Qatar, His Excellency, the Ambassador, Dr. Deepak Mittal, First Secretary, Mr. Hemant Dwivedi, the management of DPS-MIS, and our dear principal, Ms. Asna Nafees, for providing us with the opportunity to organize this event. I'm extremely thankful to our vice principals and headmistress for their constant motivation and support. I render my thanks to the DPS-MIS Social Science Department for extending their valuable help, inputs, and guidance for the organization of this event. I take this opportunity to heartily thank Mr. Harish and Ms. Netrali for all their invaluable assistance and IT support. Before I conclude, I wish to thank you all for having participated in this illuminating program, the objective of which was to enhance our awareness about the Constitution and understand the rights and responsibilities that it gives us. Thank you once again, and I hope you have a pleasant evening ahead. Thank you.